Right, Spark Scholars, now that we have learned about decimals and the tenths place, and we understand a little bit more about the tenths place, we are going to be learning about a new decimal place in this video, and that decimal place is called the hundredths place. So in this decimal over here, I have 93.45, right? 9 I know is in the tens place. 3 I know is in the ones place. 4 I know is in the tenths place because we've already learned about that. And then I have another number in a place that we have not yet learned about. This place here, 2 places after the decimal, has a name and it is called the hundredths place with a TH, the hundredths place. Now, with this new decimal place, we can do everything that we've already learned about tenths. We can expand, we can find the value of each of the digits inside that decimal, and we can change the decimal into a fraction, which I'm going to show you how to do now. Right, to expand 93.45, I have 9 tenths plus 3 ones plus 4 tenths. Remember, I can't just write my 4 because then we'd get confused. We'd think it's in the ones column. So I have to say 0.4, nothing in the ones, and 4 tenths, plus, now I have the hundredths column here. So if I wrote just a 5, we'd get confused. We'd think it was 5 ones, but it's not. So I say 0.0 tenths and a 5. Right, so with all the numbers to the right of the decimal on this side, the zeros are very, very important. They help us to understand better which place each of those digits is in. Now, I can also find the value of different digits in this number. 9 is in the tens place, so its value is 90. 4 is in the tenths place. So to show tenths, I have to put it after the decimal, 0.4. 5 is in the hundredths place, so I know I have something point something 5 because 5 is in the hundredths, and I just fill up the empty spaces with 0.05. Right, now I can also take numbers, for example 0.15, that are decimals, and I can change them to fractions if I'm asked to do so in a question. For example, 0.15, 0 is in the ones, 1 is in the tenths, and 5 is in the hundredths column. So, because I have numbers all the way up to the hundredths column, I know that my denominator is going to be 100 because it's all the way up to the hundredths column. Then I just take my 15 and I put it on top, 15 over 100. But I know I always have to see if I can simplify fractions when I have a fraction as an answer. So I see what number can go into 5 and what number can go into 15. 5 goes into 5, 5, 10, 15, 3 times. And 5 can go into 100 20 times. If you're not sure about that, you have to do your times table on the side. So 3 over 20. 0.15 is the same as 3 over 20. So it's not that much difference from the tens. With the tens, I have only a number in the tens place, so my denominator would be 10. But now, because I have numbers all the way up to the hundredths place, my denominator is 100. In this example here, we did not have anything in the ones place, so I don't have any whole numbers in the front. But I could also change a decimal to a mixed number. For example, 3.45, for example. I do the same thing. I put my place value on top. 3 is in the ones, 4 is in the tenths, 5 is in the hundredths place. Now, in this case, I have a whole number. I have 3 ones, so I can't forget about them. I have to put that down just like I did with the tenths. Then, after the decimal points, I have numbers all the way up to the hundredths. So my denominator is going to be 100. and I take my 4, 5, I put it on top. Remember, I can never just leave my answer like this if I can simplify it, and in this case I can simplify it. So 3, my whole number stays the same, but I can simplify my fraction. 5 into 45 goes 9 times. If you're not sure, you'd have to do your 5 times table along the side. 5 into 100 I know goes 20 times. So my answer, 3.45, is the same as 3 and 9 over 20. So I'm going to do one more example of each of them just to make sure we understand clearly. If I have 12.42, I can expand this by saying I have 10 plus 2, because I have 110, 2 in the ones, plus in my tenths place I have 4, so 0.4, plus in my hundredths place I have 2, 0.02. So I can expand it. I can also find the values of different numbers. If I wanted the value of the 2, or let's say the value of the 4, 4 is in the tenths place, so its value is 0.4. If I just wrote the 4, we'd think it's in the ones, and it's not, it's in the tenths, 0.4. If I wanted the value of the 2 here, it could be 2 different numbers. It could either be 2, because 2 is in the ones, or it could be the 2 in the hundreds, which would be 0.02, because there's 2 in both of those places there. If I wanted to change this to a fraction, I have 12 as my whole number, and then after the decimal point I can change that to a fraction. It goes all the way to the hundredths place, so my denominator is going to be 100, and then I take my 42 and I put it on top. 12 and 42 over 100. Now I can definitely simplify this by asking what number can go into 42 and 100, and my answer is 2. 12 stays the same. 2 can go into 42 21 times. 2 can go into 100 50 times. So my answer I will leave as 12 and 21 over 50. If you understand all of this very clearly with the hundredths, then please try this activity on your whiteboard by yourself. If you don't understand, please watch the video again.